Okie dokie. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the city of Menat Hufu. For just a moment, we are effectively done. Unless I've missed something. Just this. City is actually looking pretty nice, to be honest. This might be one of the nicest cities we've finished. Just have to turn in the pottery, and we'll be done. But before we do, I suppose we might as well just take one last look over the city. Never needed any military hardware at all. A little bit annoying, but it is what it is. I think it is good that we had that up as soon as we did, just in case, but it's a little annoying that we never ended up needing it. This area down here, honestly, did quite a bit better than I was expecting us to be able to. But it does, it does illustrate quite clearly that there's a certain point where you need to have enough room to put in the desirability structures, the beautification. Otherwise, you can't actually go any further. You know, there's a limit to how much you can squeeze things in, and this is exceeding that limit. This area here. So what we were talking about last episode with this business of trying to squeeze things down and get more efficient with the use of these structures. Yeah, it's there's only so far we can go with it, and it does suggest to me that it is that's not gonna look nice, is it? Well, whatever. The point I'm trying to illustrate is we do need to have that extra tile, at least on the outside, free to put in beautification. Because if not, if we were to do house against house with nothing in the center, we might be able to get it to this stage, but it just gives you no real wiggle room is the problem. And if you have anything with a situation like, for example, this, where this is close enough to these, or this, if this was a little closer, or might even be close enough to that if we squeeze it in even further, that would limit things too much. I think it would give us no real way of pushing back against poor desirability areas. So while I do think I'm gonna test this out and see if this works, it is worth mentioning that we're not going to cram these together real close. I'm gonna leave some space between them. Depending on the size of the next city, I might even leave 2 spaces between these things, just in case. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, our population is almost twice what is actually needed to complete the city. So, you know, while certainly we could have done better, some of this is just kind of unnecessary, really. We didn't really need to do this way like this, I don't think. Yes, we needed to get the workforce down here, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, think that it's gonna do that. Let's go ahead and blow this popsicle stand. Or, what would be an ancient Egyptian equivalent of a popsicle stand? Oh, it didn't even... just immediately. Okay.
The fine pyramids and obelisks you have built for me stand as testament to my reign, and for that, I am deeply grateful. Your dedication shall be rewarded.
So that took just shy of 40 years. Wow. Again, I have no idea what the score, like, is that a good score? Is that a bad score? No idea. Moving right along, let's see what we've got. Ooh.
Oh, mighty Pharaoh, beloved of Ra, how fortunate you must feel. Your unprecedented rise to the throne of Egypt is the stuff of dreams. A richer reward could not be fashioned by gods or people. With your family's ascension, Egypt can make a new start, and perhaps we can all forget the horrors of the Civil War. To mark this new beginning, you should build a fine new capital. Itjtawy, with its abundant natural resources, is a perfect location. Using what the land has to offer, you can build a splendid city worthy of your dynasty's valor and dedication. To ensure the feats of your great dynasty are always remembered, you should build 2 majestic brick pyramids for yourself and your family, and a frightening sphinx to guard your tomb. A family with your achievements deserves no less. Keep in mind, though, that some in the country question the legitimacy of your rule. Many are still suffering the effects of the famine and grumble that you usurped the throne. If you relieve these people's misery and help them build their homes, you will certainly win their undying loyalty. You should try to provide for your new subjects as well as you can to prevent these unfortunate people from taking up arms against you.
Interesting. So first of all, new voice. Second of all, our family is now Pharaoh. So that's cool. Third thing is there is potential for needing to defend ourselves, but I think the goal here is going to be to not need to. And I think that's what we're going to try to aim for. 6 stately manors. I don't know what level that is. It's somewhere above 2x2. That might be actually all the way up to 4x4. I'm not sure. Certainly it's at least 3x3. Culture rating, we had about that last time. And we had better than that. Actually, we had 80 culture rating, didn't we? And the prosperity was something like 70 something there at the end. So yeah, this is all quite doable based on what we just did, and hopefully we're going to be able to do a better job of making it look nice, because I'm hoping we're going to have a lot of room. Let's take a look-see. Alright. Ooh. Okay, this opens up some new possibilities. Look at all that grass. Lots of grass. Okay. That immediately makes me really want to try that new design that I came up with last episode. Yeah, there's definitely some areas in here where we're not going to be able to do that because of the space limitations, but there's plenty of room for that kind of thing. Like, look at this. Oh, we have 4 different temples. Like, let's say we smack it right in the middle. There. There. And then... yeah, that's plenty of space. I'm noticing meadows. I don't expect that... ooh, lettuce. Oh, that's a luxury good, isn't it? Is it? I've seen it for sale in places. I don't remember. It might not be. I don't know. I wonder if it is actually lettuce they're growing, or if it's something like Egyptian spinach. Don't know. I'm expecting these bits here probably not especially productive. These bits of meadow. I'll put something down to test it here in a minute, but yeah, I don't have particularly high hopes for any of that. We have reeds. Can we collect them? Yes, so that's papyrus. Not a lot of reeds, but still. What is the temple complex is to Bast? I'll definitely look. You know what? We're. Ooh, oh, whoa, holy cow! There is so much. Whoa. Okay, that's a lot. Unfortunate that the road starts on this side. Then again, there is still a lot of room over here too. So, whoa. Okay, is it here? Building a temple to Bast brings good fortune to any city. Bast helps keep citizens happy by making them satisfied with less. The rate at which your citizens consume food and goods is reduced, and the effects of entertainers, educators, and health providers last longer. Oh. And then we have Isis. Removing plagued walkers from the streets and cleansing any infected houses. Okay. Improve health overall. And Hathor. Improve citizens' mood, resulting in a better city sentiment. Okay. Interesting. Alright. That's good to know. We haven't unlocked zoos yet. Cattle ranch. Oh, what was... This needed straw? No. Oh, shoot, it said at the top there. What does this need? Yeah, it does need straw. And then this produces meat. Oh wow. Okay, so we've got a lot of different options for meat, because for food rather, because the grain produces grain and straw. So that's basically 2 types of food in one, as long as we can get it over there. Got the pomegranates, got the lettuce. What is the lettuce considered? Is that a food? It is indeed a food. Okay. And then we can do flax. Gonna make sure not to go too overboard on the flax this time. I feel like we definitely didn't need as much as we had last time. Wonder why we're doing mud brick now. Oh, it's a small and a medium. I was hoping for it to be 2 of the same size. That's a bit of a bummer. And it won't let us rotate the Sphinx. What if we rotate like this? Nope. It's worth a try. Okay. Yeah, we're not, this is just, we're testing here. Nothing new. This has not been upgraded even though we're Pharaoh. That's interesting. I would expect that to be... Actually, both of these to be upgraded on becoming Pharaoh, rather than before. Still don't do chariots. I have no idea when that happens. 1880 BC. So we can make our own weapons. We can make our own pottery, bricks, limestone, papyrus, linen. We cannot do beer. Oh, we can't do our own beer. Okay, that's an interesting choice. Hopefully that's not going to be too irritating. Yeah, I do wonder why we're doing mud brick pyramids, especially when the Sphinx, it looks like the Sphinx is likely to take limestone. Maybe. Actually, I don't remember. Does the Sphinx, it requires at least carpenters. I don't remember. What else? What else? What else? Let's take a look at these. %, 6, 7, 5. Blech. Out of curiosity, if we do this, that works? Ooh, interesting. Doesn't get all the way over there. Still, that's like pretty close to 50%, so half capacity. That's it's not the worst. Not the worst. This probably would require the road to be moved to get better. I don't know, 5, 6. We've got 110 in there. Come on now. So it looks like the irrigation ditch adds precisely 40% additively. Interesting. Okay. So probably not what we're gonna want to set up initially, but it is an option to expand beyond the floodplain. And probably something we'd want to do. Now, let's see here. We've got this bit of land here and here. Probably don't want to do anything with that, but there is the possibility. Yeah, we can bridge across to both of these, so they're not as unusable. If it was a ferry landing, then I wouldn't bother, but yeah, that's doable. One spot. One spot. Okay, where else? Can't do anywhere where the reeds are. Okay. Really? Okay, our ferry options are fairly limited. Actually, just generally the options along the water are limited. Wouldn't want to do that. Okay. I'm going to hope that we don't need warships, because we're not going to be able to get more than a handful. A handful is 5. That's we're not getting anywhere near that. I'm thinking 3 is probably pushing it because we'll also need a dock, which that's probably the spot to do it. Alright, let's take a look at what we're going to be able to trade first. Oh, hello. Okay. This is all just the normal stuff. Okay, we cannot sell or do anything with the grain. We can export the meat and the lettuce. What are the prices on those? Not fantastic, but hey, it'd be something. We can export bricks. Bricks are always good. They're heavy. Costs a lot to ship them. I assume that's why the price is so high. The raw materials aren't particularly. Although I guess that would make the clay more costly too, or it should. I don't know. Whatever. We can't do either of those, but we're gonna have to import them. Maybe we could import barley and export beer as an option. We can export linen. Okay, we can do that again. We can export. Can we make luxury goods? No. Darn. Okay. What about papyrus? Yep, we can do papyrus. Okay, papyrus and linen are going to be first up on the list of things to export to make money. These two we might do for supplementary income if we need it, but yeah, I think because the bricks and the meat both require straw, that's the word, straw to make, plus the other material for bricks. That makes linen and papyrus a much more useful. Oh, we could do really limestone. Okay, we might do limestone first then. Though I don't imagine anybody's going to want a particularly large amount of it. Gems and jewelry. Where are you? What are you getting ivory from? Up in Lebanon. I don't know. Well, that's going to be our copper income if we need it. I'm hoping we don't, but probably should get some if we. Well, I don't know. It's not going to be soon. Okay, we don't need any of that. There's that and that. Okay, so 2 things to be sold there. That's us. Yeah, they don't want a lot of limestone, but hey, they want limestone, so I don't see any particular reason not to sell that. And this is a land trade route, so we don't need to worry about getting it to the waterfront. This is land as well? Land, land, land. Really? And then Buhen is water. Sells barley and beer. Didn't... Oh. Okay, so we're gonna have to do barley and beer down here. That's a little annoying. They do sell a lot of barley. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, we can do breweries. So that's gonna be yeah. That's gonna have to happen at some point. Oh, Dakhla Oasis as well. They buy a lot of meat and a lot of linen and papyrus. Okay, you're probably going to be the first one we want to trade with. Well, maybe Menahufu is probably the better option. They do also buy bricks. We are going to need a lot of bricks for the pyramids. I don't know. This is expensive on the one hand. On the other hand, that's a lot of linen and papyrus that we can sell there. So maybe we just do that instead. Maybe. Yeah, I think that is what we should do, because we can get a handful of flax farms going here, for example. Start the first housing complex here. I don't know where we're gonna want this. The fact that we can't rotate this is just little. No, not a little. It's a lot annoying, actually. Let's take a look at the other side. See, I'd love to rotate it and face it that way. Like, what? You can't... You can rotate the temple complex into 2 different directions. Why can't you do that with this? Worth mentioning, pyramids are usually on the west side of the river. Or at least they should be, I believe. I'm not these might not be supposed to be on this side. They might be being attached to that. Maybe something like that, with the idea being yes. The idea being these would be like behind it. Sort of something like this. Bricks and limestone. Oh, is that what we're doing? We're doing a brick interior and a limestone exterior. Seems like that's kind of cheating, but whatever. Is that online? Yeah, that is. Yeah, that might look nice. Not exactly that, you know. Like maybe kinda tuck this in a little bit better. Can we really? Yeah, something like that. And then ish, let's say, for example. Because the way the Sphinx was described in here...
Oh, mighty Pharaoh, beloved of Ra, how fortunate you must feel. Your unprecedented
A frightening
rise to the
sphinx to
throne
guard
of
your
Egypt
tomb.
is the stuff of dreams.
So yeah, it would make sense that this is like pointed towards the river and in a position where it's like in front of the pyramids. I don't hate this. I don't love it either. Get rid of this nonsense. Get out of the way. Go away. And also that. What if we did something like this? Again, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. What if there is actually technically enough room here for us to do something like this? Nope. Can't be right up against it because it's got that road connection point, whatever that's called. So maybe actually include that in the design idea, right? Like we have this, instead of right up against it, have it one, maybe two over. And then 1, 2 over. That on the same line? Yeah, that is. That's... Yeah, I don't hate that. It's not as nice as I would personally prefer it. I would prefer to do something more like with the Great Pyramids, where you've got the two in the back, and then the Sphinx way further up front, in line with one of them. Although, I guess on the other hand, I was aiming towards making that one look a little bit more like it does in real life, so... Yeah, I think this is a decent way of doing it. It looks not terrible. It's out of the way. There's plenty of space around about. It's also got all this limestone right here, where we can easily get it to the pyramid. Pyramids. And then in terms of clay. Yeah, okay, so I think the idea here is going to be... I don't know why I'm doing that, we're gonna reset this anyway. We do that there, we do the limestone along this side. We can have a housing complex here-ish, somewhere. I'm not sure if we need to be too particular about where exactly we put these. Probably get rid of the road there, and then... Again, I'm thinking in terms of squeezing as much as possible into the space available. That's so unnecessary. We need how many people? 7,500. We can do that so easily. Yeah, I think... We will have one here at some point, but I think to start with... because I like the idea of having over here be the grain. The majority of the grain be on this floodplain and these meadows here, so that it has straw, clay, make bricks somewhere over here, dig up the limestone around here, and it's all right here, right? Which means the other stuff can be here. Let's see. This is an awkward size, isn't it? I'm not going to be able to get... Well... I think it should be a... less obnoxious than the last time, where we had a huge amount of empty space. But yeah, we can put the cattle ranches here... Let's say here. So, where will we need the housing complexes? Maybe if, for example, because we need this all to connect to the housing, right? How big are these? These are 3x3. Yes. That's a handy little measuring outcropping of rock. So we need it to be able to connect to the roads. That's probably about as long as I'm willing to go away from the housing, right? If we have a house right at that end there. That's probably, it might be even pushing it a little bit. I like the idea of 2 ferries here. Thus, because we are going to want to get across the river quick in order to get the reeds, in order to get the papyrus. So, if we say that's going to be there, we're going to do something like that, or so. And with the way that that housing complex was designed, we have 3 different roads coming off of it in a way that's nice and symmetrical and looks good. So yeah, the housing complex should be here, going lengthwise this way rather than this way. And we can pull more roads off in this direction to connect to this. We don't need to worry about this being too far away, because the main thing we're going to need connected to this is going to be the work camps. So the work camps can just be along this road. We can pull another road down along here. Maybe do something like this. Or so, you know. And then that gives room for bit of meadow work here. So right about here will be the first housing complex we'll put together. Think. It seems to make sense, because we'll have, I think, dedicate this entire thing to grain, because that'll be food, that'll be other food, that'll be bricks. That'll be 3 different things we're getting out of just this area. So where's the housing complex for this going to be? Literally right here, I think, is the easiest. Well, actually, yeah. Shut up. Here, kind of scooted over as far as is sensible. And then here's can be another one. And that'll service all of this area relatively easily. Where do we do the nice temple complex? We could do it here. We do need the better houses, stately manors, so we are gonna need to do that. Okay. I don't know why I'm pausing. It doesn't matter. Yes, we are gonna need to plan this a little more carefully, because we need everything to be able to get to the temple district. All of it. Including, importantly, the beer. We're gonna need 2 different types of beer too. Or 2 different things taking up beer. We're gonna have the houses, we're also gonna have the Senate houses. Gonna need some of those. Those are all gonna need beer, as well as the houses. So, I think... Hold on. Who sells the beer? You sell beer, you're on a water trade route. Is that... That is the only... The singular beer seller is Buhen. On the other hand, we're going to be primarily buying the barley, so we need to just get the barley to the breweries. So... Because on the one hand, I'd like to do this side, have the big temple district coming off directly from where the dock is. Is there enough room here if we do something like this? If we just have one row of houses, yeah. Do we aim to try and put enough... We did this. We made this mistake last time. Of trying to do 5x5 houses, putting in enough space for 5x5, and it obviously did not work. But on the other hand, this city, we have to get at least 3x3. Possibly higher. I actually have no idea what a stately manor is. I don't know that we've even seen one of those before. But I'm going to say... Nah, there's no way this is enough room here. That's not going to happen. So, what about... Can we do a dock here? No. Yeah, right there. I guess it doesn't need to be, like, exact. We could do it, like, here. This is a good bit of space. What does this look like? Let's say about there. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not loving this space. It's... Let me just... No. That does not allow us to do a roundabout business. It's not really enough space, and there's... How much space would that require? It would require 10, 11 in between, right? 5 by 5, 5 by 5. One in the middle, at least. One in the middle. So that... Whoa, that's ginormous. That's... probably ludicrously excessive overkill, to be honest. I don't know that that is in any way feasible to do that kind of size. If we were going to do that kind of size, we would absolutely need to do it the other side of the river. Because this is not going to work. Especially, like, that's... just said we were going to put the first housing complex there. Now that's way too tight on space. So instead, I think... they are exclusively going to be selling us barley and maybe beer. We're not going to be selling them any of this. So, I'm going to assume that when they go to the dock, it's going to be the one ship, going to go to the dock, it's going to offload its barley, it's going to leave. I think what we might be able to do is have the barley just over here. Right? Right? And then over here, we will do all of the brewing. All of it. Is that a good idea? That does mean that we're prioritizing exclusively the Temple District over the rest of the city for access to beer. I don't love doing that. Maybe instead, because we're gonna need a decent number of these things, right? In order to hold the barley, we're gonna be doing something like a large number of them, and they're gonna be like this. Only a quarter of the yard, so that they're constantly moving the stuff out, and we have a whole bunch of them. So instead, what we might actually need to do is do that and then have a non-centralized production of beer. Have, you know, 2, maybe 3 breweries per housing complex. Plus 6, perhaps, for the Temple District itself. Which would mean we're gonna need a lot of storage yards. A lot. Which means that it's probably not a good idea to put them on this side of the river. Probably want them over here. Which will mean that the dock delivery men will have to take it across the river. And only across the river. I don't love doing that, but it should work, as long as we've got enough traffic going back and forth. Everything else is accounted for. Everything else is fine. We can produce our own of everything else. It's just that beer. And I might be overthinking this. It might be fine. Especially once we actually have the temple complex. Because it said that it reduces the amount that the citizens need. They can make do with less. So, I think, let's see. Let's take a look at what does this look like. Whoa, that is a lot of space round about. Yeah, that is gonna be what we do. We'll have the temple complex on this side. I was gonna look at the monuments. For some reason, I thought we were also doing an obelisk. We're not doing an obelisk. Okay, that's the plan. These guys over here, I like this idea. Limestone, housing complex here, probably scoot it down further in this direction than that direction, because I'm pretty sure the mines are less pleasant to be around than the farms. Ferries, dock. We're going to put all of the storage yards for the barley on that side of the river. So we can have a great big old clump of them. Maybe not all of them. We'll figure it out as we go along. I think we're going to prioritize doing stuff like this first. Get this going. Housing complex. Actually, right here might fit. I guess that's not... No. We want to scoot it back further. Like here. And have the roads coming off of it here. And then another one over here, or so. And again, the road's coming off of it, going this way and that way. Connecting to the stuff here. We grow exclusively grain here. Get flax going here. And then do the rest as and when we need it. As we go along. There's also this. So we might need a housing district here. Temple district. Housing district. Or so. Somewhere, actually, housing district, temple district, entertainment district over here, next to it. That's probably a nice spot to put it. Yeah, I like that. Anything else we want to test out before starting the city proper? Nothing I can think of. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay. So first of all, all that needs to go. So, do I put down these things immediately? We've figured out where to put them. I don't see why not. Actually, you know what? The width is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's even. It's even. Who decided that? Why? Why would you do that to me? Okay, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Boo. Lame. I'm gonna do it this way because I'm not entirely sure. Do we want it right up against the rocks like that? Do we want it further back? Because this has a nice, like, not symmetry, but it you know, it lines up nicely. we do something like that. We could actually pull it all the way back. That's... I don't know. Oh, I like the positions of these two. I'll think about that for a little while longer. There's no rush. It's gonna be how long before we actually get the thing up and running? So, I think the way we're gonna do this is... No, what am I looking for? We're going to use this. I don't know why I keep pausing like that. We're going to... as in, while I'm trying to build things, I keep pausing. We're going to use that as the furthest northeast that this road is going to need to go. So how far away do we think we can get away with? I'm going to consider this to be the center line on the housing district, housing complex. We have a house on either side and connect there. Roadblock there. Trying to see if I'm missing anything or forgetting anything. I did. We could move it down this way one. And I don't like how close that rock outcropping is. This is a little too... Hold on. What is the actual... The actual size of the inside is that. So it would be there. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's too close. I don't like that. I mean, I guess you could argue there's all this limestone back here we could use. We don't have to get it from here. It just needs to be... I mean, it doesn't even need to be. It would like to be relatively close. Come to think of it, it's going to require a lot of storage yards. Or at least a decent number. So actually, maybe this back here would be better. Slap a bunch of these down over here, connected to the housing complex over here, so that we can get it, so that we have plenty of room for storage here-ish. You know, wherever this thing isn't. To be honest, I might just scoot it in all the way to... Dude, again, I'm doing that thing where I'm trying to squeeze as much as possible into these areas, and it's just so not necessary. This is plenty of space. Now, I'm not moving it. This is where we're gonna go with. If it really bothers me that much in the future, then I might do something about it, but we're gonna have stuff along the water line here. We're not necessarily gonna have stuff there. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, now. We're not putting in pavilions right away, but in order to plan for what it's going to look like, I'm going to go ahead and put in the road. and that'll let us see whether or not things run into issues, you know, before we even put in the pavilion, which is going to make this a good thing to do. And then, can I remember all of the stuff we need? Let's see. Because there's grass literally everywhere, we can actually do this slightly differently. We don't need to take up any of the outside area with the service buildings. So, the thing that's throwing me off here is that on the last when I was doing the testing, I started with the temples and then worked my way towards where the pavilion is, and that is really throwing me off here. And it shouldn't be. It doesn't need to be. It's silly, but it definitely is. So just bear with me a second here. We've got pavilion here, right? There was a 3x3 space on that side, right? Yes, 3x3 space there that we left as an option for stuff. Tax collector, we can't. I mean, we could put it in, but it's not going to do anything yet. So we're going to leave this out. School, same issue. What am I forgetting? I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but courthouse. I want to say something like that. Who is the patron of this city? Bast. Oh, right, because I probably should have figured that out, but here we are. Yeah. You. And then we have... That doesn't look right. It's just because that road is a little bit longer. We can change that. This is really breaking my brain here, for no good reason. There was something that was supposed to be there, though. Wasn't there? Wait a second. This doesn't make sense. Does it? I don't... It doesn't need to be exactly exact the way I built it the last time. It just needs to fit all of the same things. I'm confusing myself for no good reason. We do that, and for the heck of it, we'll go ahead and... Ooh, you know what? We're gonna want an apothecary, aren't we? Because of the amount of moisture here. We've got meadows, we've got reeds over there. Yeah, I think that's probably gonna be necessary. A mortuary could go here. That's what I sort of planned for, right? Taxes. School. What else are we missing? We're definitely missing something. Can't think what it is. Shoot. I'm gonna go ahead and put a bandstand there. Booth. I literally clicked on it and read the wrong name. Okay, I'm gonna want to do this because of the way that is. So that we have... Oh shoot, we're gonna need one more. Wasting a little bit of money here, but I don't think it'll matter really in the long run. Something like that. Alright. And that is leaving me room to put stuff for when I have forgotten stuff. Which I almost certainly have. Do you know what? Since this is the first one we're doing, I'm going to do it slightly differently. In that, I'm going to include everybody. I don't want to tick any of them off. And for now... Actually... Architect... Dentist... Apothecary. And then we actually do have room still for a mortuary. Alright. And we're at that time for the episode as well. So, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there. We've got people coming in. We've got the first housing district, housing complex, whatever we want to call it. I think calling it a complex is makes sense because we're going to be duplicating these things. And I like the appearance of it to start with. I'm not 100% convinced that this is going to work in the long term. Something to remember is that if we need to, we can do this. And that should make it to where, you know, they've got to go... I don't know. This is large. This might not work. I guess we're gonna find out. This should be all that we need to start with, I think. And what we do is we take the roads off like this to go wherever they need to go to connect to whatever they need to connect to. And everything has access to the houses, and everything should be fine, dandy, and wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and leave it here. Next episode, food, I think, is gonna be the main thing. I did say this is all we're gonna need, but, well... Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna stick with that. We can do a couple of flax, but we don't need to start with flax. We can do some pomegranates and get some food going here. Probably should continue to do that at some point, but yeah. You know what? We don't need to do that now. I shouldn't put that down in the first place. We can do that later. We don't need to cross the river yet. The main thing we want to do is get some income going, and the easiest is going to be this. Get some flax, get some pomegranates, maybe some lettuce, get some weaving in over here. Yeah, that should be good to start with. So that's what we're going to aim for next episode. So with that, I will say, thank you for watching, take care, and farewell. I'm definitely going to go back and check last episode and figure out how I did this differently, because this is definitely different. And I'm not sure what I'm missing, but I feel like I'm missing something.